What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Labor Day. This is a POV review of a $2,000 2003 Toyota Sequoia Limited 4x4. This is my workhorse. I bought this thing about a year ago, and I wanted to take the time to do a review, a drive, and how much this thing has cost me in the year that I ran it. So $2,200, that does not include DMV, registration, taxes. So after all that, probably around $2,700. We had to do two tires, so I got two used like new tires that matched the other ones. Those were about $80 each, plus mountain balance. So talk about $100 each in total. We did oil change, that was about $40, spark plugs, valve cover gaskets, probably about another $100. We also did some OEM lower ball joints in the front. Those are pretty expensive. I think those were $200 for the pair. And besides that, we haven't done all too much else with it. We did do a Apple CarPlay touchscreen double DIN radio, wireless CarPlay, which is really nice. That is a Pioneer unit. If I recall, that was also about $400. We come to the back. We even did a backup camera. That was an Amazon unit. That was only about $30. But besides that, this thing has been an absolute beast. I do a lot of towing with it. I've towed my NSX multiple times with an aluminum trailer. I even installed a Takancha power brake controller, which is a plus because if you don't have that, then your trailer brakes are not going to function properly. And 5,000 plus pounds in the back with these factory brakes is going to be an issue for you guys. Also, forgot to mention, on the topic of brakes, we did do new front pads and fluids. Those are Power Stop trailer rated pads. In the back, we did brand new rotors and pads. So if I recall, with the rear rotors pads, front pads, and all the fluids, that was about another $250, $300. And keep in mind, I do all the work that I can on my own. The only things that I don't do is the tire mountain balance and the wheel alignments. So I did get one wheel alignment on this after putting on the tires. That was about another $80 because you can really only align the fronts on this thing. But keep in mind, this is a 200,000 mile truck. I bought it with 205,000 miles on it. And underneath, it does have a little bit of surface rust, but luckily there's no rot anywhere on the frame that I can notice. And this thing is not super whisper quiet going down the highway, but it does handle smoothly, and I feel comfortable in it going at higher speeds, 70, even over 80 miles an hour. If you guys do hear a little bit of wind noise, sorry, I forgot to put the wind noise dead cat onto the mic, but it's not too windy today, so it shouldn't be too bad. You can see the trailer hitch, a little bit of rust there. I had to zip tie it on. Not a huge deal. That's just a bracket that holds on to the hitch itself. And that's really all about it. So if you add everything up together, we're into this truck for about $4,500, anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000 for a year of ownership and nearly 10,000 miles driven on this thing. I think it's been a great truck. Super, super underrated for what it is. You can go out, buy a brand new Sequoia. They start at like $75,000. Toyota has always been bulletproof. The 4Runners, the Sequoias, the Tundras, all great trucks. So I didn't get a chance to clean this thing up because I wanted to show you, like, work truck. You know, I don't keep this thing clean all the time. I do have a monthly wash package. Take it through Splash, and it goes through the machine. I mean, the clear coat on this is pretty good. There is some scratches. Somebody keyed this thing at some point. Let's go for a drive OEM keys is always nice, and I actually have 2 sets of keys. So to be exact, I have 212,000 miles on this thing, and we bought it with 206, so my math was a little bit off. I did about 6,000 miles on it, and I've done about 2 oil changes because with towing, you want to, change the oil more frequently than not. Everything in here works. I have working AC, which blasts ice cold, got working heat, working 4-wheel drive. The new radio upgrade is a huge plus because the old radio, you want to have navigation and your Spotify. The only things that really don't work are the antenna. That doesn't go up, so the FM radio sucks on this. But who listens to FM radio these days anyway? And my airbag light is on. I did change out the clock spring, which did resolve some of the other lights like the cruise control and things like that, but the airbag light is still on, so maybe it's an issue with the passenger side. Not entirely sure, but for a 22-year-old truck that only cost me a couple grand, this thing has a lot of features. You got power windows, you got folding mirrors, you got auto dimming rearview mirror, you got a sunroof, you got the rear window that goes all the way up and down, which comes in handy because I actually picked up a snowblower and I had to stick the handles out the back window, otherwise it wouldn't have fit. So you got a ton of storage in here and here. You got 2 cup holders there, 2 cup holders there. You even have climate control for the back seat. I mean, this thing is great. I love this thing, and it's been super reliable. So let's go on a drive. Probably gonna have to roll the windows up to block out some wind noise. Oh, that's the other thing. My driver window is very slow, but my passenger window is fast. It's always the driver's side because that's the one that's used the most, right? It's a 4.7 1UZ. I think it makes like 230, 240 horsepower and a little bit closer to 300 in torque. I don't recall the exact numbers, but it's a 4-speed automatic. Unfortunately, the pre-2006s, I'm pretty sure pre-2005 only had the 4-speed before they went to the 5-speed. The newer one of the Gen 1 also has more horsepower. Sometimes the transmission doesn't downshift when I want it to. You have to go like full throttle for it to really downshift. And I'm not sure if that's just how these things are tuned or if it's just because of age and something's going wrong. But I mean, I've been able to tow the car, really no issues, especially with the brake controller. Like, that's the most important thing, is being able to stop, not really being able to accelerate. The frame is good because, when I tow, I don't hear any flexing, I don't feel any flexing, and I don't hear like rust falling off the frame, as signs of things are like snapping. And I'm low on fuel, just great. That's gonna be enough for to get to our final destination here. But 71 degrees, beautiful Labor Day, no traffic right now. Steering wheel has a little bit of a shake depending on the speed that you're going, but when I let go, it's not pulling in any direction. And brakes are good. This thing doesn't have the air suspension that the Land Cruisers do, so you don't have to worry about those struts failing. The good thing about this truck is it actually had a lot of maintenance records when I bought it from the previous owner, who used it as a family vehicle for about 15 years that they had it. They did the timing belt, they did all new struts, they did new calipers, they did a whole bunch of stuff. They changed out the exhaust because I guess it rusted off. They put a brand new exhaust on there, and that's why I was able to really put in so little, just some wearables, tires, the control arm, ball joints. The lower ones especially are the most important ones, because if those snap, you're going to be on the side of the road and your wheels are going to be caved in. I don't want that happening to me, especially if I'm towing an NSX or having passengers. Like, safety is top priority. on older vehicles, so you want to make sure that you're changing stuff like that out. Brakes, tires, suspension, very, very important. I have no shame driving something that's technically a beater. This thing makes me money. I haul car parts with it, I pick up and drop off. I'm able to take wheels and tires to the tire shop for my cars. Like, I save so much money by having this thing, and I don't have a monthly payment. Like, if I were to go out and buy a brand new truck, I'm gonna have a huge monthly payment because, like I said, trucks are like 70 grand now. Even new Tacomas with the 4 cylinders are like 40 to 50K. I think the TRD Tacomas are 60K, and dealer markups, you know, you're gonna be into it for way, way higher. Absolutely no shame driving this thing. I'll pull up to this thing. People will be like, oh man, why is he driving this 20-something-year-old truck when he's got an R8, NSX, and all these other fancy cars? I don't really care. You know, when I first got this thing, it was pretty humbling because I've had Raptors and nice pickup trucks and SUVs, and then going to something like this to use as a daily driver. But then I realized like the financial benefits of saving money on a daily and a work truck all in one, and being able to tow a car or a trailer at any time, and then being able to save that money on a payment towards something else. There are so many benefits you get from just having a cheap truck like this. And then on the topic of that, you're not going to really find any other trucks that are going to be reliable, cheap to maintain for $2,000. Like, you can probably go out and get a Ford F-150, but you know, old American trucks, I would say, break down more often than old Japanese trucks. I had old F-150, I think it was a 2003. We paid like $4 grand for that, but we had to put in like another like $5 grand in repairs into it. I also had a 2010 Lincoln Navigator. That thing had the air suspension in the back that was giving me faults, and it also had like a cam position sensor that kept going off. And I paid like $7 grand for that truck. So that was a newer truck than this, less miles than this, and this thing has been bulletproof for the 11 months that I've owned it. Long-term ownership, I think I'm gonna keep this thing until I find a better replacement, like to find another amazing deal on perhaps a newer Sequoia, or if this thing just like blows up one day, like the low compression engine or something like that, or if the timing belt snaps, I might just donate it, part it out, not sure. If I were to go on the Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and try to resell this thing, I'd probably get back less than what I have into it. And again, we're not talking about large sums of money. I don't know why this dude is braking like that. That's crazy. But if I sell this thing as is, I'd probably get like, I don't know, $2,500 for it at most. So like, there's no point in me selling this truck to get something else, because there's nothing that I'm going to be able to replace it with that's as reliable. Cheap on insurance, cheap to maintain. The only thing that's not cheap about it is the fuel, but at least it takes regular. I freaking love this thing. Maybe we'll do a little acceleration here, burn another gallon of gas while I already have, oh, I got like no fuel. That thing's on E. All right, maybe we're not going to do a pull. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. If you guys like this, smash that subscribe button. If you guys want to buy a Sequoia, go out and buy a Sequoia. I don't think you'll regret it. Awesome trucks. You can mod them too. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, guys. Bye.